I'm working yet?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you going to go video?
Hey.
Yeah, they are. Perfect. Hey, she's got the clearest background out of all of us.
Well, I hope it's okay because the sun's actually right there. So if the sun starts to move, I'm just going to like move.
It's just natural light. Yeah, natural lighting works well. Natural lighting's always best.
This is your chance to go into the white room.
Yeah, Jesus. I wouldn't want to be in there with Kieran just standing behind the door.
Oh yeah, that was creepy. That was creepy.
That's nightmare fuel. That's literally nightmare fuel.
Welcome to It's Time to Go, a Big Brother Australia podcast. My name is Jayden Shepherd. For 2 points, I'm nominating my co-host Ben Myers. And for 1 point, I'm nominating our first ever guest, our first ever housemate to join us on the podcast. It's Casey.
What a nice surprise. Yeah, very nice surprise. And
is it a surprise?
Well, we were planning it for a while. I feel like we sort of, I don't know if this is works both ways, but I feel like we've watched a lot of you and I've seen you on television a lot and we've sent each other video messages and I feel like I sort of know you, but this is our first time talking face to face. So it's cute.
Yeah, it's very cute. It's very weird because I understand that people feel like they know me, but even after like some of the fans and stuff that I get like contact me like regularly, I feel like I know them as well. Like, so it goes both ways. Like it definitely goes both ways.
I didn't even have the planned topic of like weird fan experiences, but what are some do you have any weird fan experiences?
Probably just that one that I was like video chatting to you about. That I was like, I'll tell the audience because it's a funny story. It's a great story.
It's a great story.
So my problems in the house, for everyone that doesn't know, I was super constipated a lot. Continued. They were just really coming out of the woodwork. So it's been a long journey. All my friends are concerned for me. Anyway, we digress. So I was in the store in like homeless person attire, like I was literally like in pajamas, and I was buying some stuff to help me poo, and a fan came up to me and they were like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" And like I'm literally holding like packets of whatever's going to help me poo. So that photo exists somewhere. So if someone could send me that photo, I actually kind of want to look at it. I think it'd be a nice memento, maybe a phone background.
Is that weird for you? Like you went into the house, like you could go to the shops and you were unknown, and then now that it's been on TV, is that weird that people are like coming up to you while you're just going about your life?
Oh my God, honestly, it's so strange. And like I feel like it's so weird because I don't know how a lot of the other housemates are, but I just was completely myself. And like throughout this entire experience, I don't think there's been a part of me that I haven't been like, no, that's pretty accurate to who I am. Like it's all been like the same pretty much across the board. And then, yeah, so like when people come up to me, I almost get as excited as they do. Like I'm just like, oh my God, like it's nice to meet you too. Like I went out to this bar and literally there was so many people that were like, can I buy you a drink? And I was like, oh my God, let me buy you one. Like, and then I'm like, no, take free drink. Like, calm down.
That's the best part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know all the free stuff.
Because you weren't like, you definitely of all, I don't know if I should say this. You of all people seem to be the least, not or one of the least people who are just not pushing yourself out there for like the continued fame after the show. Would I be somewhat right in saying that?
I think you'd definitely be right in saying that. But I've even like looked at other people in the way they're kind of like their social media presence and stuff. And I'm kind of like, am I doing enough? But then like I've definitely been offered like things and they just don't resonate with me. So I'm like, I'm not going to do something that I would look back on. And this is the way I was in the house too. I never wanted to act away because at the end of the day, like the show ends and you have to live with the way you acted in the house. So I never wanted to act away that I would look back on and be like, that is not me. So it's the same with all these brand deals and stuff. I don't want to sell something or I don't want to be someone that I like. Why would you buy something from someone if they wouldn't endorse it? Like, so I've definitely said like no to a couple of things because I'm like, well, I'm not just but I'm sorry, I don't want to swear.
No, go ahead. You can swear. It's fine.
Okay. I swear a lot. So, but yeah, I'm not just gonna like endorse something if I wouldn't use it. Like, I just think that's so inauthentic, and I think that shines through. Like, I know a lot of that with reality TV, I think shines through anyway. Like, you can see the people that are real people as opposed to the people that are like, I want to be this person and I want to put on the best front. Like, even with all like my Insta stories and stuff like that, like I don't care. Like, this is how I would be if I didn't have an audience, and this is how I'm going to be if I do. Like, I want to be so myself that I don't have to like, oh, sorry, let me just chuck this on, like I've got to like put this beautiful thing and make it look so beautiful. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm like, you know, you can look the part and I can do my hair and I can do my makeup, but at the end of the day I act like a bloody boy. Like, there's no hiding it. So I think, well, that's a tangent. Where am I going with this?
No, I think that answers the question, and I would agree with you that it seems consistent with like who we saw, even though on the show we didn't see heaps. I feel like what I'm seeing like on your Instagram, and I know you've like started up a Cameo, but other than like what's continued on from the house, it all seems pretty like consistent and real.
As you know what?
Yeah.
Do you know what's so funny with that? So I started the Cameo because they reached out to me, and I didn't even really like look at it. And I'm going to delete it. Like, I literally sent this one video to someone, and it was only because the question literally resonated with me so much, and they were talking about mental health and they were really struggling. And I literally sent them this like very specific video. I was like, do this. But like, even that, like, I was so tired. Like, I'd just gotten back from Byron. We slept for 36, like we'd been awake for 36 hours, and we had to go through quarantine. And then this company are like reaching out to me, and they're like, oh, do this. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then I didn't really understand it. And then the next day I was like, oh, well, like, I've got requests. Like, I need to plug this a bit more. Like, I need to do something. And then I literally only sent this one video. And then I said to the person in the thing, I was like, just DM me. Like, we can chat on this. So I'm not even using it. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing with it. Yeah. Like, it's just sitting there, and I'm like, I don't even think this is me anyway. And then I have people DM me, and I just send them videos. like the worst service ever.
No, yeah, go, Jayden.
I've heard from a few people who do Cameo from like American reality TV shows that literally they like put an hour aside each week just to like knock a fair few of them out. So it like, I guess it does become a bit of a chore.
But like, and also I just don't really think that's me anyway. I don't even know really why I did it. Like, honestly, like it was definitely sleep deprivation. Like, I have been meaning to all day, like, take it off my like Instagram. I'm just gonna like shut it down and just, like, because it doesn't, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this person that messaged me on Instagram, and they were like, oh, can you send this video to my friend? Like, he's like going through a really hard time. And I was like, I don't know, like, if I was really that interested in the money, wouldn't I be like, no, go to my Cameo? Like, I just literally, I literally went on the balcony, and I was just like straight away, like, sent this video because like that, yeah. And then the only video I bloody responded to is this one that, yeah, was this person really struggling mentally. Like, it's just not really, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. I just wanted to jump on the bandwagon.
No, it does seem like a weird thing to ask money for, especially if someone's asking for advice. Even though there are some people who make make careers out of, I guess, you know, people paying them for advice or like mental help. But yeah.
I don't know. And like, the thing is, I love giving advice. Like, all of my friends call me Counselor Casey. Like, I like literally, I love helping people. It is my favorite thing to do. And yeah, and it did feel very weird. Like, I was like, wait, what am I doing here? Like, and like, the thing is, yeah, all you have to do is DM me. Like, I literally respond to almost all my DMs. Like, I try my best so much to respond to them all. And every time it's like a really intense one, I'm like, oh, I'll help this person out, like, Jesus Christ, like, because I don't know, I can't live with that on my conscience. Like, literally my boyfriend has to be like, put your phone away, and I'm like, no, one more, let me help.
No, you were always very good from, I think it was like after episode 1 that I probably first messaged you.
Yeah, wait, did you message me on your private one?
I think I totally messaged you on my private one, and I was like, she's probably not going to get back to this. And then you did, and you've been great ever since.
Yeah, I really try my best. Like, sometimes the only ones I don't respond to are the ones that are like hey, message back. And they like, but they do it all the time. Like they're like, please respond. And I'm like, but what do you want me to respond to? There's nothing here.
Are they asking anything or trying to have a conversation, or are they just wanting?
No, it's literally just like, hey, and then it'll be another message underneath it. It's like, please respond. But they do it every day, and then I'm just like, this is too much. Like, you're asking me to not respond to anything, and like, you know, if it's been like a day and a half and there's 6 messages just being like, please respond, I'm like, I'm not going to respond.
Yeah, what do you going to say? Yeah, where do you go with that?
I want to get into the show. I found out from one of the interviews you did, you hadn't seen much of Big Brother before auditioning. Is that right?
Yeah. So I've never watched the show ever. Ever. And then when I was actually going through my audition process, I said that to them, and I was like, do you want me to like watch some of it? And they're like, no, we love it. Like, we love that you've never watched it. I don't even know if people would believe that, but like, I swear to God,
it was literally
like, I was with my sister, and she was like talking to me, and she was like, oh, I just saw that Big Brother's coming back on. I think you would be great. You should audition. And then the next day I was super hungover, and like my phone was sitting beside me, and I reckon it was like one of those like targeted ad things. And like, it literally came up on my Facebook, and it was like, Big Brother auditions. And I was so hungover, and I was like, this will be so funny. Like, it'll cheer me up. So I literally did the whole thing, like on my computer, literally like full, just like dead, just like, but I was like laughing to myself. It was the only thing that gave me happiness that day. And I was like, I'm so funny. Ha ha ha. And then when I called, I was like, wait, what's happening? I was so confused.
I was the exact same. I did one like a few weeks ago, and I sort of just took it as a lol.
I honestly, like, that's the thing. Like, people ask me for advice, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I'm just the worst person to ask about this, because I literally did it as a joke. And I think it was just one of those things that, like, my personality just must have shone through. Wow, that was a journey. And I think they must have just been like, oh no, like, let's get this girl on here. Like, she's a train wreck. Like, this would be so funny.
and you really were a train wreck the whole way through, but it was great. Yeah. It was great to watch.
An absolute train wreck. Like, all my friends were like, this is you. Like, they've not misedited you. Like, this is you. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's an absolute mess.
But it was funny. We were talking about on a previous podcast that you were just like, it just seems fitting that you would never watch the show, had never watched the show before, but did like surprisingly well just doing your thing.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like, when people are like, oh my God, you played such an impressive social game. Like, the thing is, like, I don't even know if I knew what I was doing. Like, I was definitely, like, there was intent. Everything I was doing, there was with intent. It was definitely not malice. Like, I just didn't have that in me to just, like, stab. Like, it was just not me. So, but when they say, like, oh, you played such an impressive social game, I think I'm quite a social butterfly. So, and I'm like that in my everyday life. So it just felt so natural to me to just act that way anyway. And I think that is what carried me so far, is because I really took the time to check in with each individual person and like establish relationships outside of like, you know, like you've got your main group. Like I'm the black sheep of my group. Like I've got a million different friends, like from different walks of life. And I think that's kind of what carried me. Like, I think it was literally just that I would take the time to go and like sit down with people that weren't in my group and stuff like that. So when it came to like nominations and stuff, and even though I got put up so much, it was like until the very last one, I was put up as a safe vote. Like I'm literally just being put up as safe votes. Like, oh, well, Casey's safe. Let's just chuck her in there. Like no one's going to vote her out. So let's get this. Like it's like the best vote to put me up is like, well, if we put Casey up, let's get this other person out there, a sure thing. Like, so I kind of think that's probably what it was.
And when you're playing a game like Big Brother or any, like, I guess any reality television show, a lot of people could do that, go around, sort of mingle between groups, and it could be seen as, or genuinely be just a strategical move. But whereas from you, obviously I would be like certain that it wouldn't be that. It was just like, it's just you.
Yeah. And I think that's what everyone felt like with Alan. Like, I think because you could kind of see through his game. Like, I think him like coming up to you and him being like, oh, what are you doing? Like, blah, 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 blah. It, like, even though like he's a lovely guy, but like, I think it showed like that there was like, it was just written all over his face. Like, he wasn't here to have a chat with me. He doesn't want to get to know me. He's just trying to say the bare minimum to secure the friendship, like spray paint it all nice and just be like, well, I've checked in with her today. And then like, it's like you can see him moving from group to group to group. And I think that was like his downfall, was where it was like just completely inauthentic, but it was a bit blatant.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, you've got to have the friendships, but they've got to still be organic. Otherwise, they're not going to be realistic.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's the thing as well, like, especially with me, like, if there was like a sinking ship, like if I knew that the friendship was never going to build, like I would literally just like leave it. I'm like, I'm just not even going to talk to you because it's going to feel fake. And I think that actually puts more of a target on my back. So there would like, yeah, like there was a couple of people like that I would just like avoid, because I'm like, well, we've got nothing to say to one another. We're not really mingling in the same groups. Our personalities aren't gelling. So if I come up to you and try to spark up a conversation, it's just going to look like I'm like a wanker.
Speaking of your social game, I want to get into it. Going into the house, it must have been like overwhelming, but like, who did you start to feel like you were connecting with on like night 1 and day 2?
So like straight off the bat, like honest to God, like I'm a guy's girl, like straight off the bat, like I loved Maddie and Dan. Like I just like straight away, as soon as I got in there, like me and Dan were just like having bands, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Like me, Dan, Kieran and Zoe and Ian were all in there like first. Like, so that was, because I came in 5th. Mm-hmm. So that was like kind of, and like immediately I was like, oh, this dude's like pretty good. And then I think Maddie came in like 8th, and then I was like, oh, like, and I could just, his accent, like, I'm from Kalgoorlie, he's from Broken Hill, they're basically the same place, just in different sides of Australia. I was like, oh, this is like perfect. Like, and that's another thing, like that friendship was so organic, which is why it kind of upsets me the way it's like been portrayed as like, you know, like this is like these big macho men. And I'm like, dude, like just leave. I don't know.
I see what you mean. Yeah, that's cool. And like you obviously said you saw through Alan on night 1, but was there anyone like, not to get into like negatives, but was there like certain like awkwardness with certain people on like night 1 where you could just already feel like this wasn't gonna like be your vibe with them?
No, see, like, nothing like that. And, like, even Alan, like, I was pretty chill with. Like, it wasn't kind of till, like, day 3 that I reckon you started to really feel the shift between people. You could kind of feel people slipping away. Right. And, like, I think it was after Laura left and then the newbies came in, like, I thought me and Marissa were all cool, and we were like cool after this, but like I noticed that as soon as the new people came in, it was like she like jumped ship. She was like, oh, like I'm gonna hang out with these people. Like maybe she was just feeling like not super aligned with anyone, but you could see that like as soon as like Sophie, Chad,
Sarah,
and Sarah came in, she was like, bang, like I'm gonna hang out with these people. And I think maybe it was just because she just didn't feel that aligned with people, like. I don't know, but yeah, you could definitely, that was when the shift all started. Like you could just feel it straight away.
Right.
Just
and
really
like,
quickly, is this getting too dark? Do you need me to like open this?
Oh no, it's fine. Like that's, everything's totally fine.
Yeah, it seems fine.
Okay.
No, like you mentioned about the newbies rocking up. Obviously in the show, it's episode 2, but for you guys, you've been in the house for like 3 or 4 days. Was that like was that like weird all of a sudden having like new people in the house?
Oh, honest to God, like, I'm not even joking. Like, when I saw the comments and it was like, why are they getting so upset? Like, blah, 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 blah. You have to understand, like, I'm so sorry. Can you hear that?
What's going on?
No? Okay. So, sorry. Let me restart my tangent. Yeah,
now I'm curious as to what's going on now.
Oh, there was a phone ringing and I'm like, oh, do I need to, like, turn that off? But, so, yeah, like, when they came in, like, you have to understand, like, as soon as like, I think it's like after like 16 hours, like honestly, the magnitude of what's happening hits you. Like your emotions are so heightened. Like you are literally using your brain 24/7. Like it just doesn't stop. It's like just going. And you're thinking about everything and you're overthinking things and it's so overwhelming. And then, so you've already been on this kind of like emotional journey. And then it was very confronting to be like, okay, like we need to get Laura out because she's quite a strategic player. But then for me, I really grappled with that because I was like, well, like Kieran's just like really like he's doing the wrong thing. And there was a lot that you didn't see with that. Like he was really like, he said some things that I was just like, I'm super not into this.
Yeah.
And then for Laura to us, like you didn't know where Laura's head was at. See, that was where you had to kind of separate yourself from the game and be like, okay, let's do this. That was a whole like journey. Like I literally felt like I climbed a mountain. And then to wake up and have strangers in my home, I was like, are you actually joking? Like, are you pulling the piss? And then because I'd never watched the show, I literally walked straight into the diary room. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, literally, what are you doing? And he was just like, oh, well, this is Big Brother's game. And I was like, well, I've never watched the fucking game. And he was like, well, maybe you should have watched the game. And I was like, they told me not to. Like, they literally told me not
They advised against this shit.
Oh, I was so upset. I was like, are you actually kidding? And then like after a while, like started chatting to them and I was like, okay, well, like, that's pretty nice. But I was off it. Like in the first, like, I reckon the first 3 hours, like I was filthy. Like I was just like, are you joking? Like this is 4 more people that are just like in the way to the end. And also like, we've been here longer. Like they need to earn their stripes. Like I know that sounds dumb when it's like, I think it was like 3.5 days, but like you have to understand like just how quickly your mentality is. Like honestly, like I think we got the letters after 10 days and I literally bawled at every single person's letter. And every single person there bawled their eyes out. Even I think Shane and like Hannah and stuff had been there for like 3 days and they all cried. Like it was very, it really catches up on you so quickly. Like you just, because you're so cut off from everything, it's just like everything's so high. So yeah, I was pretty pissed off.
That's so weird because I watched that, I saw that and I was like, God damn, they've been in there for like 10 days. Why are they crying? But then I think about times where I've like spoken to family or like friends after like a very brief period of time away and I'm very emotional as well. So
like even like I lived like overseas for like a good chunk of time and I like messaged my sister all the time, but like I never like spoke to her on the phone. And I think it was like after like 5 months she called me and hearing her voice I was like, oh my God, like because all we'd been doing was like texting because we were just like on different time schedules and stuff. And then when she called, it like really hit me. But this was like 10 days. And like literally I opened up this letter for my sister and I saw her handwriting and it was just like, bang. Like I was just absolute waterworks. And it's just, and even like before that, like I think it was day 7 and I was like, I just want to speak to somebody I know because that's the thing. At the end of the day, you've got nothing familiar and you only have your gut to trust. So even like I was friends with like Dan, Maddie, Zabe, like everyone from the beginning, but you have to trust your gut that these people are going to have your back and they're not going to backstab you. And you just can't, like you literally can't, like even though you're like, oh, I really like them and they're saying really nice things to me, there's a part of you that's like holding back. So you just want like something from the outside world, from like your real life where like it's people that know you, people that love you, just to like hold on to. Like I literally read like my sister's letter like non-stop. Like it was ridiculous. Like I read it all the time because I was just like, oh, it's so nice.
Speaking about like detachment from the outside world, I don't think there's any other like scenario you'd be in or any other reality TV show you'd be in where it is like disconnect from not only like social media but news and people. What's that like?
It was, I don't know, I didn't really mind the like disconnect from social media and stuff like that. It was, the weirder thing I think for me was the time. Like it actively bothered me, like not knowing the time, like to the point where like it would upset me. Like it just really, like the social media and stuff, like because you're kind of just like, you're always surrounded by people, so you're never lonely. Like, so that just really didn't bother me. But yeah, it would severely bother me. Oh, and to not know the weather. So it was really annoying to like go outside and you're like, oh wow, it's super sunny, and then an hour later it's like torrential downpour. Like that really pissed me off because I like wake up in the morning, like my dad's like brainwashed me, and I like check the weather to dress for the weather because I don't like going outside and being cold or hot or whatever. So like I'm always dressing for the weather. So yeah, I would get really pissed off. I was like, what the fuck is the time? Or what the fuck is the forecast?
And that's funny because those have always been like truth things, I guess, throughout history. Before even social media, people would always ask what the time is and what the weather is. Like, we all need to know it.
Oh, honestly, I was in Bali once, and both me and my sisters had our phones nipped, and literally the amount we would literally just go into restaurants and just be like, "Oh, what's the time? Like, what's the time?" And they would just be like, "What? Like, why do you care?" And we're like, "We don't have the. I need the fucking time." Like, I think we were there for an extra like 10 days after that or something as well, or like maybe 7. I don't know. But I was so off, but I was just like, I just need to know the time. Like, where's my day going after this? It's just nice to like. Oh no! Actually, it's just nice to know the time. Like, you don't have to. I don't have to justify that.
I'm the same when like my phone battery dies, and I remember it happened to me at a music festival once, and I was like midway through this. I was at Green Day actually, and I was watching Green Day play, and I remember it was like Living Colour started at 9 o'clock, and Green Day was playing a 3-hour set, and I was like, I've got to get out of here at like 8 o'clock, so I can only stay for 2 hours, and then my phone died. And I like went like crowd surfed up to the front, and I was like just yelling at the security, being like, "You need to put the fucking time up on the screens or some shit." So people
get the time up there now. They're like, "Man, we've got bigger problems." It's like kids ODing in the corner. Like, you can check the time later.
Oh my god!
Get a watch.
Yeah, get a fucking watch, mate.
With not knowing the time, like, how did that work for comps and evictions? Like, how much warning would you get before those things were happening then?
It was different every single time. Like, there was one time where it was like, I think they gave us like 5 hours notice. So I was literally wearing like I was wearing like a full face of makeup in the sun, and I was like, first of all, I could be tanning. Like, I'm wasting valuable sun right now. Like this,
Yep.
I've got my makeup on way too early, and you can't put tanning oil with long hair because it gets all oily. It was a whole thing. Super upset. Then there was another time where they literally gave us like 25 minutes.
Wow.
Or less, like, and within that 25 minutes, you actually get locked down in the bedroom for like 10 before, like this one was 10, usually it's longer, but you get locked down in the bedroom so they can, like, I don't know, film you walking out. Sorry, I just need it. So then, yeah, like it was like no time. Like I literally was like, I think I just washed my hair or something. So like I think that eviction, I was literally wearing like Sarah's hat and I've got no shoes on and literally no makeup. And I was just like, oh fuck, this is good as it's gonna get. Full pleb mode.
Damn. I know, like, obviously with the old Big Brother, not that you watched it, but like their evictions don't have the live audience, so they would at least know if they heard cheering, like the eviction was coming.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys were just like told at random times.
Oh, it was so weird. And then because he would literally come over the speaker and sometimes he'd be like, oh, there's like 2 hours to the eviction ceremony. And then, yeah, there was literally once, and I think he said, you've got 10 minutes to get ready or something ridiculous. I remember just literally being like, are you kidding? And like the sun was still up. Oh, do you know what? That was, no. Oh,
you got it.
No, because I was going to say that must have been the one that Laura went because then they brought the other people in so we could be in bed. But I don't even think it was that one because that was the first one. Like there was, and I remember we'd had a few, so we were like, what? Like 10 minutes? Like, because we're all just lounging around, just like, oh yeah, like it's nice. It's the middle of the day, and then yeah, they were like, go. Like,
I can just imagine like Sonia's rocked up early and she needs to get out, so she was like, quick, let's get this show on the road.
Like, man, you know, I've got traffic and stuff. I need to be home with my child.
All works around Sonia. Just real quick on Big Brother and Big Brother's voice, because this interests me, and I actually just saw an article yesterday about who played the voice of...
Oh my God, I saw that this morning. I didn't actually read the article, but I looked at the picture and I was like, damn, he's a bit saucy.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad at all. Yeah. And I actually found myself last night listening to like his show reel and other like ads, ANZ ads he'd done in the past and shit, and I was like, all right,
oh
cool,
my God,
cool.
Send that to me. I would be so keen to listen to that. Maybe I should have read the article.
I'm
kind of like detoxing a little bit from it because it's been a long journey for me. Like, obviously, I've had it a little bit rough, but so I've kind of been like not really looking at anything like at all.
I think that's probably advisable. But
healthy.
Big Brother, there was different voices in the house that you were talking to. Is that right? Is that correct?
Yeah. So there was one of them was a producer, like, and I actually had him for my backstory. He's a really nice dude, like he's super cool. So when he would come on, it was actually kind of nice. I was like, oh, but then like, yeah, I think there was like 2 girls, and then we had a nighttime Big Brother, and all the girls actually thought that the nighttime Big Brother was Scottish, but he wasn't. He was just like, I think he was just like a chav or something maybe. But then, yeah, like, so when the big man would come on, we'd literally all call him Big Man. We'd be like, oh, like something's happening. Like if the big man was on, it was like, oh shit, like this means business. Like this is like some serious stuff and like that was when I would kind of like take that as like, if he would come on, I would literally go put on activewear because I'm like, I don't know what the challenge is. Like I need to be well prepared. I'm not just like, so like pretty much like from when his voice was on, I was like in activewear, and that's when I was like clean or something. So I was like, okay, well I can't do anything else. I just need to be prepared.
And your interactions with like Big Brother, no matter which one it was, they were always like pretty lighthearted and friendly, or they were like, would they ever get argumentative or what?
I never experienced them being argumentative. I know that Daniel and Matt did, but that was because they were like, I think they were like arcing up a bit later on. But then, I mean, like it was funny because when was it? I was having like, there was a day where I was having like a full mental breakdown, like it was very intense. And I went in there and I like was talking to Big Brother, and then like a different voice come on, and they were like, "Are you actually okay? Like, are you all right?" No, I was, because I'm quite like self-depreciating. I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself, but like I'm obviously like I'm not going to do that. But it's just like I'm just like everything's the end of the world to me. I mean, major highs, major lows, but it's all fun and games. But yeah, they were like, "Are you actually okay?" And I was like, "Oh no, like this is just how I talk." And they're like, "Okay, you need to like pick it up a little bit, like pull up your socks. You need to stop like acting like this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're probably right. Like that's actually probably fair." Because yeah, I definitely know that my sense of humor doesn't resonate with everyone. But yeah, other than that, I didn't experience anything too bad. But I don't think I was too naughty, to be honest. Like I'm like a real stickler for the rules. Like when I see a police officer, like if I'm driving, even if I'm literally doing nothing wrong, and immediately like I have a gun. Like I just immediately I'm like, oh my God, like I have a gun. Like, and I literally like, there was one time where I was doing a breatho, and I legitimately like I bumbled it 2 times because I was so nervous. And then the girl's like, I'm literally going to take you to the station if you can't do this next one. I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm just so nervous. And then it's like, I did it and it blew like all zeros. And she was like, what? And I was like, I just get so nervous around police officers. Like, so I think I was probably like probably one of the easier ones, because I was just like, as soon as they were like, don't do this, I was like, oh, I can never do that. Like, I won't do that.
No one likes being yelled at and told off, even still till this day. You think it's just like a thing that when you're a kid that you get told off by your teachers and you think, oh, I'll grow up and I won't have to deal with this anymore. But when I do still get told off till this day, it still hurts. It still feels bad.
Oh my God. It's honestly like, I think like my mum yelled at me like once not that long ago, and I swear to God I was literally just like, wait, what just happened? Like, I feel this deep in my soul.
I've got this other thing, a weird like fear of being on bikes and someone yelling behind me, because I remember I nick-knocked someone yeah, I nick-knocked a house once, and then we're like, we were just messing with him for a while, and then we're like, all right, we'll nick-knock him and then we'll ride off. And then we got like halfway up the street and we thought we were in the clear, and then he just fucking came running, screaming behind us. Like, I ran to my house, and like, because he knew where I lived, he came to my house and like gave my parents a spray, and I was like hiding in the tree in the backyard at the time. So now every time I'm on a bike and I hear someone yelling in the distance, even if it's not at me, I fucking panic, man.
Just like complete, like all like panic stations, like every man for himself. Just like, oh my God, just don't get on a bike. I think that would be, it's going to be a pleasant experience. You're just like, you know, you're riding, you're enjoying it. Like, I wouldn't get on a bike. That just sounds like, yeah, that sounds anxiety ridden.
Yeah, I enjoy the chill bike rides, but as soon as someone yells, fun is over.
Oh no.
You were in the house and they sent you into the room with the fears. They would put you on like an exercise bike and just have a man like yelling down at you. That would be your fear.
God. That's with my fear. Like, so I feel like my fear, like, is very confusing. But everyone kept being like, oh, what's your fear? What's your fear? What's your fear? And like, I was like, oh, guys, don't worry. I'm literally not going in there because there's no way they're going to do my fear. And then when I walked in there, I was like, what the fuck? Like, but it's not so much the fear of cheese graters. It's a fear of submerged cheese graters. They have like, or the very end of like a block of cheese. So like, if a cheese grater is like submerged in water, like I literally can't do it. Like I actually think about it and I start to get hot. Like
it's in the sink, is that what you mean? Like,
yeah, because it's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah,
like if you've got
gotcha.
lots of bubbles and it's submerged, you put your hand in there and like honestly, like I don't know if you could tell from the show. Like I could tell, but I think it's because I know me. Like I'm very clumsy. Like so clumsy. And the amount of time, I'm so erratic, and like the amount of times I put my hand into the sink and literally like I've grated off my whole fingernail once, like full blown, like it's split in half and I had just about half a fingernail for like 6 months. I was like, oh, this is sweet. Like, so then when I went in there, I was like, what? Like, and like it was so hot in there that I was just getting agitated. I was like, okay, this is an oven, and he literally had like 4 blocks of cheese, and they were like this, like, I don't know, do I need to describe it? Like a forearm long. And I literally was like grating it. I was getting so sweaty. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't sign up for a workout right now. Like, I didn't like this. And then like when it gets to the end, that's where I start to get scared again, because it's like it starts to be like precarious, and I'm like, I don't want to be in this situation. So that's when I start to get scared, either submerged or the end.
That's funny, because talking of like things being submerged, I've always had like, and water, bodies of water. For me, another one is like being in a body of water and knowing there's something underneath me, like being like the idea of being in
like
the middle of the ocean or something, and then having like knowing there's like a submarine or like a ship beside me or something, but like not being able to even see the submarine, just knowing there's a submarine there.
Oh yeah, that's weird, because it's like it's the could. That's what it is. It's the fear of the could. I think we're all scared of could. That could happen.
I feel like I've seen so many people mention, like, on their Big Brother applications, like, don't be honest about your fears, just, like, lie about them. So, like, from now on, I think people might be a bit more aware of, like, what could happen.
No. So, Sarah is, like, her fear is, like, clinically diagnosed. She didn't even tell them she was scared of knees. But she reckons it was in her medical record.
Oh,
so
right.
I think even, but like that's like a clinically diagnosed one. I kind of thought that was a bit messed up. I was like, you're not gonna, like, she's actually been psychologically diagnosed with this.
And she was freaking out.
Oh no, it was like there was 3. Oh no, there was a couple where I was like, no, this actually makes me feel uncomfortable. Like Danny's with the bubbles. Like when she first told me about that, I was like, this is outrageous. I don't know. Then when she got in there, she was like on the screen, you could see her visibly like full blown trembling, and she was bawling her eyes out, and I was like, oh no, like this actually is like fucked up. Like we need to stop this. Like this is making me feel really uncomfortable. And then Sarah's made me feel really sad as well, and fucking Dan. Like, so he had this golden gay time. I don't reckon they showed it. Like, I remember watching it because I told all my friends about this because it's the grossest thing ever to me. I have like a fear. It's not a fear. It's like a you know, like nails on a chalkboard. I get the same from like touching wood in my mouth. Like it literally makes me feel so sick. So with that golden gay time, Dan had to eat. He ate the fucking pop stick. And I literally, and Shane has it too. And me and Shane were both just like, oh, like screaming, like it was, but that's how scared he was. He literally ate the pop stick. I was like, this is unreal. Like, get him out of there. Like you're actually subjecting people to like, this is like mental torture. Like you can't be doing that.
I feel like with Dan's as well, like even if you don't have a fear of birds, like out and about, he was in like the tiniest room with 4 birds. So anyone would be freaking out.
Honestly, but even I'm not really that scared of birds, but like even I would be like a bit weird because like I just start to think about like, what if they like accidentally flew at my eye and then like scratched my eye? Like that was like, I'd be like, because they were like flat, like he was in there for a while and they were like really flapping around. I would be scared too. But, and as well, he grabbed like the wall and literally was like banging his head against the wall at one point. He was like, and I was like, oh my God, he's like, he was petrified. Like it was like full blown, like, there was like, everyone said there was like fears and then there was phobias. And like Dan's was like full blown, it was like a phobia. Like I was watching it and I was like, I feel so uncomfortable. I started washing the dishes because I was just like, I feel so weird. I'm stressed.
I'm sure you probably had to take up the dishes for Kieran. Kieran would not do the dishes.
I honestly couldn't even let him wash a dish. Like, I think I asked him to wash, because he would just like come up and just like place dishes beside me. I didn't really mind because honestly, like the thing is, you're talking to people so much. So for me, like I've spoken to so much like my family about this, and I'm like a clean freak anyway. I kind of just looked at it as, if I'm cleaning, I actually don't have to be talking to people, and people are, because if you just go and sit down by yourself and like sit with your thoughts, people are like, what are they doing? Like, why are they doing that? Like, they're not working hard, like they're segregating themselves, like blah, 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 blah. So when I would kind of like clean and stuff like that, like I was like, this is like downtime, and no one's like, she's not doing anything. So you're like, you're doing something. But yeah, no, honestly, Kieran, I asked him to wash a dish once because he always would like place them beside me, like while I was like just finishing a giant pile of dishes, and then he like just chuck his like whatever in the sink, and I was like, oh yeah, no worries, mate, I got this. And then once he came up, and I'd just done so many dishes. Like I think Zoe had cooked this massive meal, and like me and Dave had been like washing and like drying these dishes for like I think 30 minutes. And like it was non-stop dishes, and then legitimately Kieran like comes and drops his like plate and stuff beside me, and I was like, okay, you need to wash this. I went and peed, came back, and literally he like put the dishes on top of the dish rack, but it had food all over it. And then I had to rewash like 7 or 8 dishes. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, mate? Like I was just like, this is ridiculous. You need, or I want to call his mum and just be like, look, I'll come stay at your house for a few weeks. I'll sit down with him and I'll just teach him how to be a man. I've told him this too. Like the amount of lectures I gave him, like we bounced about it so much because I literally would just lecture him nonstop. Like it was my duty to make him a better person.
He didn't seem fazed by it either, did he? He didn't seem like bothered by the criticism. He sort of just knew that he was very lazy.
Oh no, definitely. He, even on his call, I think his mum said to him like, oh, no, it was in his letter. She was like, make sure you're like picking up after yourself, like, because blah, 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 like you won't make friends that way. And he just was like, literally went into the room and he was just like humming. He was like, and then just like laughing about it. I was like, mate, pick up the fucking song.
That's bad.
Just pick him up. Pick him up.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. Let's get into it. The first time you're nominated on the show was the 4th eviction. How was that?
It was so sad, honestly. Like, because I actually thought I was genuinely going home. Like, I wholeheartedly was like, this is me. Like, because Dan was so loved, and Tal was too. Like she did definitely have like that whole like scrap with Hannah and stuff like that, and there was definitely like a divide. But like I think they like half patched it up, but I think it was like that kind of like, oh, we're just gonna like patch it up so there's no like ongoing drama. But I literally was like, oh well, they're the most popular in the house, like I'm toast. So I literally went into the diary room. I was like, oh well, I'm getting ready to pack my bags and say my goodbyes, like. And then literally Dave came up to me and he was like, don't worry, like I've literally like I've spoken to so many people that nobody wants you to go, like I've been campaigning for you because I know you don't want to do it. And I was like, oh, this is so sweet. But it's like, it honestly rips your heart in like 400 pieces, because you start to think, you're like, what did I do wrong? Like that's all I thought. Like I was just literally like, what did I do? Like I couldn't figure it out. And because Ange had kind of like said a few things to different people about why she'd put me up, and I was just like, I didn't know what to believe. And then she said to me, she was like, oh, I put you up to be safe. And then I was like, yeah, but you told this person this and this person this. So then I was like, oh, and it just makes you feel so bad about yourself, like honestly. Like I felt so bad about myself.
Should we talk about the Angela thing?
Yeah, if you want.
That would be skipping down the track a bit, but let's talk about it since we're on her. I guess the next time you're up is against Angela and Kieran. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't even know what to ask. You just share your feelings.
We talked about we talked about the game that you played, which was very just like much being yourself and being social and chilling, and that did well for you, like you being the social butterfly that you naturally are. And then Angela obviously was because she'd already been evicted once, and she was playing a very hard, very tough, and like a bit of a mean game sometimes, I think. And I think it bothered her that you were just like really cruising, really chilling, and doing better than her.
I don't know if that was it. She just, like, the thing was, like, and I don't know, like, we've had conversations since then, so I think we should be all good to chat about this. I hope she's, like, she shouldn't get offended. But basically, like, she kept saying, like, that I hadn't earned my place and that I was hiding behind the boys, which I don't think they showed much of that, because I think they wanted to keep it quite level and not have it so malicious and whatnot. And that it really hurt me, like, to say that I hadn't earned my place, because at the end of the day, she'd already been evicted once. Like, I'm sorry, you've actually had your chance. You're getting a second chance. So if anyone hasn't earned their place, it's you. So, like, you need to go. And it was really annoying, because we were definitely in separate groups. So for her to be like, oh, all Casey does is camp, like, yes, that is all I do. There's nothing to fucking do here. And I like looking brown. Like, I'm sorry, who doesn't look, I'm pale as hell right now, and I literally hate every minute of it. Like, I want the sun.
I was going to say, this is like, you're noticeably a bit paler than usual.
Oh my God, I'm so pale right now. I honestly, I'm so pale right now. I don't even want to talk about it. But anyway, so then, it was like, when she kept saying to me, like, oh, all you do is tan. If I want to know about tanning, I'll ask Casey. I was like, okay, hang on a bloody minute. I'm out there in a completely separate group to you. And while I told you before, like, I have my contingency plans where I go and chat to other people, I am, like, outside. She's always inside. She doesn't see, like, she doesn't know my game. She doesn't see what I'm doing. Like, it was just so, like, it hurt me so much. Like, I was honestly so upset. I was like, don't say that when you're sitting in the green room, literally sitting in there all day drinking tea. Like, what's the difference between her drinking tea all day long and me tanning all day long? Like, there is no difference. It's just we're living our lives completely different. But the only difference is I'm not saying nasty things to you, like, for no apparent reason. Like, it honestly just, like, it really wound me up. And, like, because I've had it my whole life, like, I'm always friends with boys. Like, it's just, I've got a male energy. I just get along better with boys. I even told all the producers that when I was going in there. And then when she was like, you're hiding behind the boys, like, you haven't earned your place, I was like, hang on a fucking minute. At that point, Daniel and Dave hadn't won a challenge either. So what? I'm hiding behind them. How? Like, what is it? Only because I'm a woman that, like, nobody was saying that Dave was hiding behind the boys. Like, and he hadn't won. It's just because I'm a girl that's friends with guys that people are like, well, she's hiding behind the boys. It honestly, like, it's just small-mindedness, I think.
And I guess it was just like because they had the numbers, even though they hadn't won any challenges. Like, they just maybe had the numbers there, I guess. So
it was just that was kind of like how, and I think she she saw a sinking ship, and she was just like, if there's anything I can do to shift blame, I'll do it. Like, she was just kind of like, well, she didn't want Kieran to go, so she was like, I'm just going to take Casey down. And I was like, like, and apparently she's been campaigning for me all day, which I just don't really understand, because she was always like, girls got to stick together, and then she was like, oh, like, just throwing me under the bus. I'm like, well, because she kept saying, like, it's a boys' club, and I'm like, well, if it's a boys' club, then why don't you want Kieran out? It's just, it's only, like, when it suited her that she would, like, say certain things.
Yeah. I have a few points out of a few things you've said there. First of all, if you were, like, hiding behind the boys, it's a fantastic strategy, because we saw that you had a good social standing with them, but I feel like a lot of times they were taking the heat. So it's like, good on you for having a good strategy where, if not that that's what you were doing, you just found people you connected with. But I think at certain points, they took the heat more than you in nominations. So kudos to you.
Yeah, well, so me and Dave actually spoke about that a lot. Like, we were like, oh, like, you know, because Dave, like, but my best friend here's a girl. He's like, you know, we're kind of like in here just kind of chilling. And he's like, you know, we're not ruffling too many feathers. And he's like, this is a good way. Like, we kind of need to stay at this level. And I was like, yeah, no, like that's, you're right. Like, so there was like a method to the madness. It's not all just like there is some smoke and mirrors. Like, it's just, you obviously don't tell other people that you're not aligned with. Like, hey, this is my game plan. Like, I would be absolutely mad if I was going to walk up to Angela and be like, hey, this is my game plan. So when she kept saying, you're not playing the game, like you have no game plan, I was like, hang on a bloody minute. Like, I'm not going to tell you my game plan. I would be insane. Like, it's literally like handing you the gun and just being like, bloody shoot me. Like, here you go.
I think Sophie actually said something similar in the DMs to us once, that even though it may not come across as her having a game plan on the show, she definitely had a game plan, regardless of whether it came through as strongly as Kieran's game plan did or Angela's game plan did.
Yeah, I just think some people are just more blatant. But I also think that goes, like, with their personalities and stuff like that. Like, I think some people are, like, just more blatant. And I think, like, yeah, I don't know. There's honestly so many things that it's just, like, even watching it back, like, I'm like, oh, okay, that happened that way. Like, I didn't see certain things that way.
Do you enjoy watching yourself back? Did you enjoy watching it?
Oh my God, I've been drunk for 3 months. I cannot stand the sound of my own voice. I won't listen to this. Like, I will refuse. I cannot, like, if I hear my voice, I like cringe. When I was like in the beginning, when I had like literally like, it was like, beep, there's Casey, bang, she's gone. I was like, this is awful. I get to enjoy the show. I don't have to look at myself. I don't have to hear myself. And when I'd be on the screen, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, can you pipe down? Like, honestly, I really didn't enjoy it. And I think even now that shows a bit, like, I'm not super into being in the spotlight and stuff. Like, honestly, all the paparazzi and stuff in Sydney, like, fucking hell. Like, my boyfriend is way worse than me. Like, he's so private. And they were like following us through the airport, and I was like using him as a human shield. And they would have been like, it was like relentless from the second we got off the plane. And he was like, can you just give them a picture so they fuck off? And I was like, no. Like, I know. So like, I think all of the pictures of me are literally just me like hiding. Like, I'm just not super into it. It's weird though, because you'd think like, oh, well, you've gone on reality TV, like blah, blah, blah. But you don't see the cameras. So you don't, and I suppose there's a small amount of like narcissism to go on a show like that, but yeah, I definitely don't like want to be like, ooh, like here I am.
I think
I'll do that on a small scale.
Yeah, no, I think that's just the assumption because you went on a reality television show, but then again, like you said, you didn't even know what the show was really.
No, and it was like when they offered it to me, like I'm such a yes man. Like, I will literally, like, okay, so for example, I hate prawns, but every time like people are like, no, but I make the best prawns in the world, even though I know I hate them, I'm like, what if I like them? So I'll eat them anyway. So when they were like, you like, do you want to go on this? I was like, well, I mean, like, I'd be stupid not to. Like, maybe I'll really enjoy it, and like I did. So I mean, good prawn. It's delicious.
I mean, like, it's memories that are gonna like stay with you forever. So, like, of course, it was a good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was like such a short time. Like, if you think about it like that, like that's literally a blip in your life, but it's so like monumental. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, it was so short, but to think like that could have made such an impact on me. It's just. I'm really glad I did it. Like, definitely, like I would recommend doing it, but like, yeah, if you're like me, be prepared to watch yourself back, but just have to get drunk. Like, I honestly was very drunk, like a lot of the time.
No, it's I think it's true to say, like, I was watching the show sometimes, and the original show obviously went for a lot longer because it was weekly evictions as opposed to daily evictions. But then again, so I was watching the show being like, God damn, they're getting all so emotional and they're so into it, even though it's only been a month. But then I think about times where I've like gone away for just a month. It's been a short period of time. And like, I look back on like, I only went to like Central America for like a month or some shit, but it's like something I constantly like think back to and like refer back to, and like was a big thing that happened. Like,
yeah. And it is also, that is, fuck, hell with the flight. is that? See, I like to think of stuff like that. If it's like going overseas, I'm like, I've got to make this super worth it. I need to like quit my job and like do like intense amount of things like that. Was it a long flight?
It was a long ass flight there. On the way, I remember on the way back, I actually had like, it was over like a day's flying all up. But then on the way back, I just got lucky as shit and had 3 seats next to each other and was able to just like lift up the arms and sleep it out without having to pay $10,000 for first class. So it was sick.
Amazing. But yeah, no, that's the thing. Like you think about stuff like that. Like even like I think it was like in, I don't know, October or something last year. I went to India and it was like for literally like a month, maybe like a month and a week or something like that. And I literally still like, and that was a terrible trip. Like, I was traumatized from that trip. But in saying that, I still like, even now, like I'll tell stories to people. I'm like, oh yeah, like, well, like blah, 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 blah. Because like I look at that and I'm like, oh yeah, that was like super, like, yeah, it's like when you're away, because you're on your phone less, you're doing this less, you're doing that less. It's just so much more, yeah, like time to enjoy what you're actually doing, which kind of ingrains the like the situation into you more. And if you think about how much less you're on your phone, well, obviously you're not using your phone at all in the house. You've also got no time and this and that. It's so much more, yeah, intense. Like this is going to be, I think it's going to be burned into my brain forever. Like I don't think I'm ever going to forget this. Like it's pretty like intense.
Special. It's sweet.
Yes.
You speak about like obviously like not having time in the house and like making memories, but like you're in there for 24 hours a day and there might be like a task or a challenge. Was there ever times where you guys were just like bored shitless?
So there was so the very first week, the Sunday was a rest day, and I think they did it the next week too, and legitimately they canned them because we were, because so they would like the camera people wouldn't be there, but obviously they got the 6 cameras and stuff like that, and they would like give us cards and stuff like that. But even still, like we were fucking so bored because even though you can nap for the whole day, like if you're okay, so think about this. If you're like planning a lazy day, in that it includes like watching movies, like listening to music, maybe some podcasts on your phone, talking to your friends, like you're still being a slug.
Yeah. Now,
being a slug and having no purpose is the worst thing in the whole world. Like it was, oh my God, it was so fucking boring. Like I genuinely was just like, just turn off all the cameras. Like we promised we would just sit down in front of the TV, just let us watch a movie. Like it was, yeah, I was very bored. Like, and I have fucking, half the house has ADD. Like, but I've got like pretty intense ADHD, like where I'm like, just like, I need to be going, and like I need to be doing something, like, and even like I couldn't sit down and just like play cards because I was just like I was like, I'm fucking bored of this. Like everyone was playing President's Arthurs and I was like, I'm literally bored. Like this
cards is always a fucking weird one. Cards I never really got round that much. Like rarely I get around card games and shit.
So me and my sister like taught me this South African card game. It's called Yanav. And I actually play it with my boyfriend. It's like you're meant to play it with like 7 people, but I only like playing it with like 1 person. And when we go camping, like we play this card game relentlessly. But it's also, again, it's just the 2 of us, and it's like, well, like having a casual drink, it's nice. Like it's like it's more of like when it's just the 2 of us, it's nice for that. But yeah, like I'm sorry, I'm not playing spoons at 2:00 in the afternoon. I don't know what the time is. I'm bored as fuck. I'm not interested in this game. Like, and also like, because I am so erratic, I'm not very good at the like snap games. Like I'm just like, I panic. So I like don't snap. And then I'm like, ah, and then I'm also a terrible loser. So I don't want to fucking play card games like that's over.
The key to spoons is understanding that the spoons aren't actually like, the cards aren't actually important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually got kicked out of the last game of spoons I was playing for stealing like cards. I was just building a collection of queens.
Okay, so I don't like to play with cheaters. Like I bet you would always say, I want to be the bank when it's Monopoly, and you'd be like funneling money, like just literally like laundering some cash.
Laundering cash.
I would be so uninto that. I would call you out too, because I'm like real good at like, I kind of like, you wouldn't pick it, but I was like, I'll be very aware of my surroundings. So I reckon I'd be like, fuck you, I know you've got 200 just sitting under that. It's always under the box too. They always think they're so sly, but it's like under the box. Like, this is my money that I'm laundering.
They kicked me out, and I was like, and ended up taking it out on everyone else in the group, being like, "This is what fucking happens when people become too attached to like physical possessions, like spoons. Fuck you, fuck you all.
Spoons aren't currency. Get over it." Oh my god, I love that.
Card games in the Big Brother house. I'm sure one of the days where you wouldn't have been bored is your competition win late in the game.
Yes. Oh my god, I was so stoked about that. Watching it back, I'm like actually really upset about it because I saw, like, because when we were doing it, like, honestly, everyone was like trembling and stuff like that. And then like when the boys and stuff started cutting deals and stuff, I was like, I really don't want to be given this because I knew I was going to win it. So then I was upset when it kind of was like, it was like, oh, Chad's like, oh, I should have just kept going. I could have gone longer. I'm like, mate, you were trembling like fuck.
That's what
like I won this. I literally went in there and I was like full blown, like I was like in the diary room. I was like, yes! Like I was so happy. I was like, like I honestly, because I was like, if I go home, my friends will absolutely take the mickey out of me if I haven't won one challenge. And when I got back and I was like, I won one, they were like, one? Like, what are you doing? Like, you loser. I was like,
there's a lot of people.
So hard. They were so hard. And honest to God, like, I put my heart and soul into those, and I was bloody rubbish at all of them. Like, I was honestly just so bad at them. And like I said before, I'm a terrible loser. I was good, like sit in bed and just be like, you just need to do this. Like, but then I loved how like that whole day I just looked so determined, and then I won. I was like, fuck, that's a really good look for me. Like, here she goes, like she's gearing up, and it's just like, well, I'd actually been doing a lot of yoga in the house, and it's basically like doing a fucking downward dog. Like, of course I could hold this. Like, all I've been doing in the house is yoga. Like, this is my challenge. Like, this is it. But yeah, I love seeing the build up where it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna take this out, and then I do. I was like, oh, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. So really, just do yoga.
Speaking of yoga, it looks like it's still pretty sunny there. How's the weather in Western Australia at the moment? Being outside and doing yoga.
It's actually phenomenal. I've been really neglecting like doing any exercise while I've like while this has been all going on. Like everything's been falling through the cracks. But like while I've been in ISO, I like dragged my boyfriend into doing yoga with me. So we're doing 2 yoga classes a day.
Solid.
Getting super into that. Yeah. But yeah, it's really good weather, and the water's just like right there. It's got like free shipping and ISO. Like Nick went surfing while we were away, and he's like, every day the surf is phenomenal. He's like, I just want to go surfing. Like it's been pretty torturous.
So it's 14 days.
Yeah, it's 14 days. And everyone else, I'm so confused. So like Ian has roommates, and then Andrew obviously has a family and kids. I know for a fact Hannah has roommates as well, but like me and Nick have roommates. And then when I went through, they were like, oh, where are you staying? And I was like, I'm staying at Nick's. And they're like, yeah, no dramas. But then when I got to Nick, they were like, well, you can't stay at your house. And I was like, why am I allowed to stay? And then he's not allowed. And then so we had to switch it. And then they're like, you've got to do hotel. But then I'm like, why did nobody else have to do hotel? So it's been
weird.
It's been super rough because like as much as Uber Eats is delicious once a week, it is torturous eating it 2 meals a day. Like I genuinely want to die. Like I can't eat this food anymore. Like I'm so over this.
Heavy. Yeah, that's what I struggle with for sure.
But yeah, I'm just so like I just want to go home and just like eat food that I've cooked. Like I'm just like I just want to cook for myself so bad. And like coming off already being away for a week, so it's like 3 weeks of eating holiday food. I'm like, fuck, I just need to eat like a Brussels sprout.
Hey, going on to Big Brother and food. That was the other, and you were talking about them being pretty rough with the fear or phobia thing. What about like the food budget? Some weeks seemed like you guys, when it got to the end of the week, were you actually really dying in there because of like, were you starving?
Oh my God, honestly, I don't think you could tell. Daniel's, like, he has like those tight briefs, like the bombs, like the ones that like not boxes, by the end, I'm not even joking, he could pull them off his body. Like they were literally wilting around his waist. I was like, holy fuck. Like I reckon he dropped easy 11 kilos, 100%. He was wasting away. His face got so gaunt, and I would like smuggle him some of my eggs. I'd be like, oh, because like we'd ration out the eggs. So we'd be like, okay, you get like, well, at first it was like 1 egg a week, but then it like got to like 2 eggs a week. And I would literally like smuggle him my eggs, and I'd be like smuggle him my tuna. I'd be like, quick, eat this. Like, cause I was just like, I honestly was just like, fuck, like you're so skinny, like you, and like he's so big, like he just needs it. Like, yeah, it was pretty grim. And there was like cause we could have like staples. It's staples of like flour, salt and stuff. It's like you make like bread and stuff like that. But like, fuck, you can't, like you can only eat so much bread. Like and then that makes you sick. Like you just feel sick of eating junk. Like
and then
like,
and then when they gave you a treat, it was like just fried chicken and shit.
I know. I'm a vegetarian.
Baby.
I was so filthy.
Oh, yeah,
that day when we were doing the yes challenge for the KFC, I literally was whispering into my mic. I was like, can you just give me a salad? Like, can you please just give me a salad? Blah, blah, blah. And when we got out there, it was just fucking KFC all over the table. I'm like, I understand this is sponsorship. Just put a salad over to the side, like in the corner of the room. I'll just like quickly eat it. Like, I'll fucking hide under the couch. I don't care. Like, but it was so, yeah, it was definitely going in there. If anyone who's listening, if you're a vegetarian, be prepared that all of the food challenges you won't like. And like, I'm a team player, so like I would like all of them like that we had to earn, I would just do, because I was like, well, I want everyone else to be hungry, like everyone else to be fed and stuff like that. But yeah, there was like pasta challenges and stuff like that, and I don't really eat pasta, and like I don't. But then there was literally like, yeah, there was no vegetarian options. Like I literally think like one of the days I got a salad, and I was overjoyed, and it was only because it was a roast and it had like a salad, and then I had to share it as well. It was very upsetting for me. I was so upset.
Do we have any more Big Brother questions before we like not wrap it up, but just talk about other stuff?
I mean, the one major Big Brother question I had was like, well, I mean, like we've kind of tracked your like time on the show like loosely. Obviously, we didn't even talk about like your eviction, so let's quickly go there.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, like just like fair enough. Like Sophie, it was Sophie, right, who put you up? I'm remembering this correctly. Up against Kieran. The one question I had, and I said this on the podcast, I don't know if you listened to it, and this is probably like editing, so I want to get your side of the story. That you said to Sophie when you were like talking to her about it, that you felt like it was a cop-out, and I just wanted like where did that come from? Because we didn't really see anything like leading up to that moment.
I just felt like, because she came up to me and she was like, oh, you know, like, I put you up. Oh, she gave me like, she said like, I put you up, like, oh no, she went to say something and I was like, it's just a cop out, man. I was like, and she was like, why? And I was like, well, like, because she kept like, we'd had multiple conversations where they were like, oh, well, I don't want to put someone up because they're like playing it safe and blah, 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 blah. And then when, she put me up, I was just off it. Like, I was just like, this is kind of just like, I had done this whole thing where I'd won, I didn't put them up, even though I knew they were coming for me, and I knew their whole little plan, and I put them up, and then that night I sat them down, and I literally said, I could have put you up, but I didn't. I'm doing this to squash this, babe. I want to work with you, not against you, blah, blah, blah. And then, when she put me up, I was like, this is just a fucking cop-out. And she was like, I just put you up because, she said it was something like, oh, because like we're both girls in the house and we kind of have similar personality or something like that. And I was just like, yeah, it was like a very like, and like, don't like, we're being so like good now. Like,
yeah, of course.
And I literally don't care. Like, I'm like, oh, I never thought I was going to win. I was never going to win. Like, I honestly didn't think that was the case. So, but yeah, I was just filthy with it. I was like, don't give me a shitty reason. Don't do this, and like, don't lie to my face. Like, I knew I was going home. The second she put me up, I knew, like, I was like, down to my head, like, this is it. Like, like, here you fucking go, get the firing line ready, like, I'm ready to go. And I knew it was coming as well. I knew it was going to go to a tie, and I knew that would happen. Like, I had the whole thing in my head. Like, I was like, yep, this is it. Like, this is my day. And then, yeah, so for her to come up to me and give me, like, just kind of like a shitty reason, I was like, that's a cop-out. But, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I was, at that point, I already knew I was going. So I was like, I don't really care about, like, calling her out. Like, this is a shitty reason. Like, yeah, like, it just, like, just tell me what you really think. Like, we're not really getting along, and I don't really want you in the house. Like,
yeah,
that. Like, I knew I was going home. Like, I honestly knew I was going home. I literally went up to Chad, and I was like, dude, I know you're going to vote for me. Like, I kind of can sense that this is going to happen. I just want to say, no hard feelings. Like, I loved my time with you, blah, blah, blah. Like, I literally went around and said goodbyes to everyone, because I full blown, like, I know it's played out that way on screen, that it's like, oh, Sarah had this big decision. But, like, I literally, I knew. Like, I full blown was like, this is the big day.
Well, like, I mean, like, if she was giving you, like, a kind of wishy-washy answer, it would have been probably easier from my point of view watching it, and I'm just a viewer, and there's so much going on. But it seemed like, obviously, she wasn't going to nominate Chad. She was really close with Sarah, and she had just made this deal with Dan and Matt, which only left you and Kieran. So,
yeah,
like,
but I didn't know that she made the deal
of
with
course,
Dan and Matt,
of
obviously.
course.
Like, I didn't know that. So, and, like, yeah, I don't know. It was just the way I felt. But, yeah,
fair enough. I just wanted to know.
Watching it back, yeah, you could definitely, like, and there was so much, I had so many messages about them, like, what do you mean cop out? And I was like, I was just, like, speaking from the heart. Like, it was just, like, one of those things where, like, this was a cop out. Like, I was just, and I think it was just it as well. I was just filthy on it. Like, I didn't want to go, but I knew I was going. So I was like, now
fair enough. It was, like, obviously, like, the emotions were, like, rising as they were getting to the end.
Yeah.
No, fair. That's chill. And yeah, and then eventually you went out 7th place, which, I mean, out of 20 people, you made, like, 7th place.
I'm
Fantastic
stoked
effort.
with it.
Yeah.
I'm honestly stoked with it. When I got out and I told all my friends, I was like, I came 7th. They were like, that's fucking tragic. And I was like, what do you mean? And then they were watching it and they were like, oh, wait, this is actually, like you did pretty well. Like, I think, like, kind of, yeah, you kind of have to watch it. Because, yeah, when I told them, like, 7th, like, that's not good. And then you're like, well, no, because only 3 people get to the end. Like, so
yeah, that's like, what, 3 evictions away from being at the finale night.
Yeah.
What about this? Final 3. Was it a deserving final 3? Jayden hates the word deserving, but would you have those 3 as the final 3? And if not, what would your final 3 look like? I'm becoming an interviewer now.
see, this is the thing, like, and I don't want to take away, because I definitely watched it and I'm like, yeah, like, you fought tooth and nail, but I just, at the end of the day, Sophie was evicted. I just don't see that as fair, that she would be in the end. Like, it's just, to me, it's like, well, you've been voted out. And I would have felt the same if Ian had have, like, made it all the way through and then got to the end. I would have been like, that's not fair, because we actually voted you out. Like, it's just, to me, I'm like, well, if you're voted out, like, if I was voted out, like, and then I came back, like, I don't even know if I would have accepted it, because I would have felt like, fuck, I don't deserve this. Like, and yeah, like, it was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that was super fair, to be honest.
Especially because there was no explained reason as to why Angela or Kieran and then Sophie were just given a second chance for the hell of it. Like,
yeah, I wasn't given a second chance.
Yeah. And it's funny because you were like, you were just before them and we were watching it and we're like, we love Casey. Like, why the fuck not Casey?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I kind of think hopefully next year they kind of maybe take note, because there's definitely, like, and it's not like, I mean, everyone that I spoke with was like, well, this isn't fair that Sophie's in the final 3. And I was like, well, like, it's not my fucking game. Like, but I was like, well, I kind of feel the same. Like, to me, it just seems like, well, you've actually been nominated out by the House. Like, what else is there? Like, I'm sorry, that's just, and then Australia votes on the winner. You don't get to go and come back. I suppose the producers can do whatever they want. It's Big Brother's game. Like,
I mean, for me, if, like, they're gonna bring like, people back with, like, second chances, it needs to be, like, not so late in the game. Like, it was really late.
Oh, it was super late, and then and it was like, like, I mean,
If it was like Hannah, Marissa, or you getting a second chance, you guys going out like
even me, I think it's too late. Like, I think I just don't think the second chance should be there at all. That's just how I personally, like, you look at a race. If like, okay, so say if a runner falls down at the start of the race or like midway through the race, he falls down, but then a crane just comes and picks him up and like puts him where everyone else is. It's like, no, that's not fucking, and then that guy takes out the race. You're like, well, he didn't, like, the crane did half the work. Like, you know, you've not really, I don't know. I don't know. That's how I look at it. I'm just kind of like, well, not really.
I think that's it. We done?
That's it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all just kind of sitting here looking at each other like,
No, I was just like, we've been going for a minute. Like, it was good fun. Well, Jayden, wrap up the podcast and then we'll talk a bit after. We'll talk for a minute afterwards.
Okay.
No, like, Casey, like, first of all, like, thank you, like, once again for coming on. Do you have anything you want to, like, plug for people who have listened? Is there anything you want to get out there?
Plug your Cameo.
No, we're getting rid of that. I'm going to get on my phone after this. I'm going to get on my phone and just quickly get rid of it. Nobody follow me on Cameo. Don't request videos. Just DM me. Anything I want to plug? No. Literally no. You can go to my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. My last name is really hard to spell, so you don't have to work really hard to find me. That's it. That's all I got.
I just wanted to give you the chance. Fair enough. No, thanks for coming on and like chatting, and like obviously you interacted with us during the show, which we were really like stoked about. So no, it was really great.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed this. I like this format. Maybe I should get into podcasting. I love talking.
Do it. You can be the permanent third co-host next season.
Yes, perfect. Add me in.
You can come on next season and talk shit about people that you like don't know, so you don't have to like defending them.
Oh my god, I will love that. Just bring me in for one episode. I'll just shit on a couple of people and then
done
be like,
deal.
Easy. We're locking it in for next year then. Well, hopefully the rest of your isolation goes smoothly.
Oh god, I hope so too. Someone needs to smuggle me up some alcohol ASAP.
Do you guys even have many cases in WA? Sorry for like getting back into it, but like, how many cases do you guys have?
I don't think there's any active cases. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure there's literally 0 active cases.
Stay away from Victoria.
They legitimately treat us like we're fucking plagued. Like, they leave the food at the door and then they knock on the door and then they run back and we're like, thank you. And then it's like they're literally, they do not like us. They're just like, oh, like, get out of here. Like, but I commend WA for the way we're doing it. Like, we're smashing it. Like, that's that. And like, when I went over to New South Wales and I had to like hand sanitize my hands again, I was like, oh wow, this is really weird. They don't do this anymore in WA because they just assume you're clean. Like, they're like, oh okay, well, no one has corona, so you're clean. Like, but yeah, no, like when I went over to New South Wales and I was like going over and hand sanitizing my hands, I was like, fuck, this is annoying. Like, my hands are so dry.
I've got the sanitizer I've got in my car at the moment actually peels a layer of skin off. So it's like I see all the dead skin cells come off every time I use it. It's awful.
Oh my god, that's like, have you seen those sock things? They're like pedicure sock things and they've got like oil in them and you put your feet in them and they literally like rip off your skin, but like gently, like over time, and you wear them. But I'm just like, fuck, is there anything worse than going outside and putting like wet socks, like you're wearing socks and then you walk in like the rain? But this is like, I'm going to voluntarily just make my feet soggy. Like, oh, it's like actually my nightmare. It's my nightmare. That and Kieran hiding behind the door in the white room.
All right, we'll wrap it up on that. Thanks so much for everything. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks to you and for all the listeners. Thanks once again for listening. We're hoping to have more interviews with house guests coming up. So stay tuned to our socials and you'll see what we've got in store. But that's all for now.
Thanks.